Howdy howdy, today on Garage Noise we're repairing this F-250 with this nasty looking scratch and dent in the bed. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Let's dig in and get started. First thing we've got to do is to strip this down. We're going to order this Harley Davidson decal, Harley Davidson 4x4 decal. We got to strip down the bed, remove this bed rail cover. We'll remove the fender flare, remove the tail light. We'll get this stripped down and then we'll address this damage. So we're going to use the belt sander. We're going to sand out this scratch in the center here, and that's where we're going to pull it with the G90E. So there's a ridge right here, and there's a ridge right here. We're going to pull out the center, tap down this ridge if we can, and see if we can straighten this out just a little bit better before we put some filler in it. So this is a flat spoon. We're going to use this. This is from Eastwood, but it comes in handy because we've got that crown right here on each side of this. So I'm going to use this with the hammer against it to flatten out that crown. And now it's not going to affect this. See, we have a low area right there. Beautiful. All right, we're going to go over it with 80, feather edge out this paint, and then Darius is going to mix up some body filler. Go around this edge with 600. Go back over this section with 80. Anywhere I put body filler, I want to have 80. I want it to be hit with 80. I'm going to tape off this top body line here because we don't need to get any filler up above that. Everything's below that. So we got a little bit of the upol gold. Get a little bit on our spreader. Press it in. I'm just putting a little extra on here so we can block it out. Make sure the edges are smooth as possible. And that's it. We'll let this dry. About 15 minutes. We'll block sand this. I'm going to pull this though right now. We'll block this out with 80 quickly and then 180, all on a long block, and we'll be ready to primer it. Okay, this is still a little tacky. We're gonna sand it with some 80 grit sandpaper. Got a long block here so we can cover a large surface area. We're gonna block in an X pattern to get this straight, and then we'll switch over to 180 to refine those 80 grit scratches. Even pressure, we wanna put even pressure on this. It might be a little too early to sand this, but we're gonna give it a shot, because I wanna get this in primer today. You don't see a lot of dust coming off this because it's being vacuumed up. This has got a little roll to the top of this. It's broken through into bare metal here. It's not high yet. We're gonna block this side of that. That feels pretty good, but I'm gonna tap this down just a little bit. It's a little low in this section right through here. So what we're gonna do is put one more skim coat over this. We'll block it again, and we should be ready to go. All right, I'm just gonna mix up a little filler here. Of course, we're folding it in, getting all the streaks out. I use a little bit extra hardener in here. I want to kick a little quicker so we can get the sand in it. Forgot to put my tape on, oh well. So right here is where there's a little section that's low. See, I'll start with it all over here. And get a little bit right here. And it's kicking. There we go, we're gonna leave it just like that. Block sand that out after it cures. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and sand this again with 80. All right, now I'm gonna switch over to 180. 180. We need to flatten this out just a little bit. Okay, we'll go over this with 320. Okay, now we got some 320 on here. Give a little bit finer scratch. All right, let's put some primer over it. Clean it a little bit. The reason I want to run over it with the DA is some deeper scratches right down here. I want to go outside this area so when we apply primer, if primer lands on it, it's going to be sanded with 320. Direct metal primer, upol primer, low pressure, check this out. Very little overspray. In fact, I can turn the pressure down just a little bit. I'm not pulling the trigger all the way. We'll let it flash off, and then we'll put one more coat on, maybe two. Now I'm going to block this primer with some 320 grit sandpaper. I'm going to use the same firm or rigid long block. We'll put a little guide coat on here so we can show you what's going on with it. We're just going to block it in an X pattern. We want to make sure, now this does have a little bit of a contour, but this being rigid and flat, it'll move with this contour. It's pretty much straight. Now down here, we might have to do a little something different to block this out right here. Blocking in an X pattern or a crosshatch pattern. We can see that the texture is starting to get removed. You can actually see scratches being removed. So there are some fine scratches that are being removed and blocked out. We're going in different directions, all different directions. So we got a little low area here. We'll see if that'll block out. Now I have to block at an angle on that section there because of this contour. Okay, it pretty much blocked out, but we've got we broke through a little bit here, so we're gonna have to seal this. But that is straight as an arrow. I'm gonna do this section right here with a round block, short round block, and some 320 grit sandpaper. See, we got the round block here. These are handy to have in whatever situation. This is made by, I think this is made by Dura. And so I'll leave links in the description for tools and products I use. If it's something you're interested in, really handy for stuff like this. All right, now we're just gonna go over this with some 600. I've got an interface pad here. This is a soft foam pad that's gonna flex as you go over the contours of this body, so it doesn't dig in and burn through any of the primer or paint. Darius will now prep out this bedside with 600 grit sandpaper. We use 600 grit because you can clear over it without leaving scratches that can be seen through the clear coat. So he'll sand the entire bedside with 600. He'll go over all the edges by hand with a 600 grit scuff pad or sanding sponge. He'll mask this off, and then this will be ready for a beautiful paint job. Now there's 4 key things you need to understand when you're applying clear coat. If you want to learn those, check out this video now. I appreciate each and every one of you watching, and we'll see you next time on Garage Noise.